Hey guys, today is a cold day. It's 2 glove cold, so you have to excuse me because it's windy and it's so many degrees below zero that I'm pretty sure that the polar bears are staying indoors today. But I'm here, so let's get into it. Today we are going to talk about a question that you may get, and if you get this question, either make sure that you know what you're doing or run in the other direction. Your customers are at some point, maybe depending on your project, going to ask you this question: can we customize this interface? So what we're going to talk about is theming. Let's get into it. Themes, guys, is the hardest thing there is in frontend. Not even a question. Front-end development, UIs and all that stuff, making a content management system or themes or whatever. Like, themes is just a taste of what content management is. It's even a more elaborate theming strategy or branding strategy or whatever you want to call it. You should give WordPress and the core team of WordPress all the respect that you can muster up. Because what they're doing, you have no idea how unbelievably hard making an intuitive, scalable, well-maintained CMS system is, or themes whatsoever. The odds of you getting it wrong are in fact so massive that I've only seen a handful of developers or a handful of companies get it right. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today, because unfortunately this is the second time. I never thought that this would happen twice. I had to support themes and content management and customization and all that good stuff at my previous job, which I could kind of understand that this was the situation, because that is literally the sort of company that needs it. It is, it was a natural fit for it. And I thought, all right, this is probably an exception to the rule. It's probably not something that I'm ever going to have to face again. I was very happy that I had gone through the pain to maintain a content management system or theming, CSS theming at one point in my career, because I thought that this was a unique experience. And now here I am at my next job, and discussions are going back and forth between some customers and our company as to, all right, can we customize this? Because every single damn company in the world, guys, wants to have a custom layout. They want to be able to customize and brand and all that good stuff. This is why I keep telling all the designers, all the wide-eyed people out there who come to me and they say these magical words. Oh, we should standardize. We should make an experience that feels consistent, and we should use a framework like Material UI or something like that, because it's so much easier. And if we only stop, like, this is going out to you, Mark. If we only could standardize on a set of components, like Microsoft did back in the day for all of their elements in their layout frameworks and that sort of thing. And I go, yeah, it would be great if the world could decide that custom colors, fonts, brands, and brand distinction, and all of these other things didn't matter anymore. It would make my job so easy. Oh, so easy. It would be beautiful. What if the web simply had decided that, hey, a button is always a button. It's just an element. I don't have to do much with it. I just put it there and it's done. But that's not the world we live in, because of what I'm going to talk to you about. this desire to have your own brand or have a customizable experience and make yourself distinct, to stand out from somebody else, is a very, very popular request, depending on your platform, of course. So, what do you do when your customer comes and asks you for this? Well, let me tell you from my experience how to do it wrong, and then I'll tell you how to do it right. Let's start with doing it wrong. So the worst thing that you can possibly do is to say, hey, you know what? We're going to allow the customer to fully customize everything about the layout. So what we're going to have is that we are going to have a component system or something of that nature, or even worse, a CSS system where the customer can go in and simply modify and add their own styles to a style sheet or something of that nature, and then we will simply use those styles to overwrite whatever base styles that we are adding to the page. Why is this a bad idea? Well, this is a bad idea because if you do this, that means that you now in your development process you need to be aware of what you're doing at all times, and always have it in the back of your head that you can at no point make a decision on behalf of the project that in any way compromises your customer's ability to do whatever they want. Because remember, CSS is that powerful. In theory, you can change almost everything on a page layout with CSS. So if you gave that power to your customer, you now have to think about that and support it long term. Even worse, odds are that your customer is going to come to you and start asking questions why their layout doesn't work anymore. Trust me, you are going to be in a maintenance hell. Most of the issues that we got from having customers who could literally put in JavaScript that they wanted on the page, they could put in CSS however they wanted. Most of the issues we got where people came to us and were angry because their product or their business webpage wasn't working, was because they had added some third-party script or custom styles that broke their entire layout. But since they are non-technical people for the most part, and they call us, it doesn't matter. It's that the issue is on their side. They will call you. Trust me, they will call you and they will blame you until you, of course, explain to them where the issue lies, and then they're just going to be okay. Yeah. Anywho, so I have to switch my hand. I'm sorry, guys, because it is very cold. My hand is completely numb now. Anywho, so what do you do in order to get this right? Well, it's actually funny because I had a discussion with my colleague, my designer, just yesterday, and we spoke about the upcoming plans for maybe supporting theming and customizations and all of that good stuff. And I am so happy that I have this guy in my company. He's a designer and he has worked, his previous job was at a company that has supported a product very similar to what we're talking about here. It was basically an off-the-shelf solution with customization support that allowed their customers to basically to theme things, to customize the layout and the experience. And when we started talking about that, we immediately, I felt that I found a person who has gone through what I've gone through when it comes to this topic, and he knew exactly where the issues were. So he said that the way that they had approached it was that they had the idea very similar to what Material UI and Google's standard library, like their CSS library has, where the idea is a button is always a button, an element is always an element. You have the approach that you provide the consumer with a set of components, standardized components. A menu is always a menu, and so forth. And then you allow that person to simply override the very basic things, such as colors, fonts, maybe a bit of border radius or something of that nature, or images, things of that nature. You don't give them full control. You allow them to modify the things that are very often associated with a brand. And those things are, as I said, usually the font, the color, and the image. That's it. You don't need if you have a customer should not have an opinion on how a button's click state should feel. There's not much in terms of value to do that. And if they have, for some reason, their own material UI type of framework where they have all these interactions and they have a complete custom design, just ignore it. Just tell them that this is what you can give them, because trust me, if you have if you ever get to a point where you create a custom solution for one customer, as soon as you add the next customer, you're going to have to build another one-off solution for that company, and for the next one, and then the next one, and all of a sudden, what you actually have is not an off-the-shelf solution for that you can just sell to different clients. You simply have 5-6 different custom projects that you have to maintain for each individual person or each individual customer you have, and that's going to cost you enormous amounts of time in maintenance. Odds are that it can break your entire company. So really think about this, guys. You have to really think about what you're doing. Now, so that's the mental approach that you should have. You have a set of standard components in which the customer can override basic things. They are not allowed to have custom select boxes. They are not allowed to have anything that is like a completely custom experience, a custom component, or that one customer has one sidebar type and another one has another sidebar type. That is not going to be scalable over time. Trust me, it will not. It will just cost your company enormous amounts of time in maintenance. Once you have decided that that's the way you want to go, how do you actually implement this? Well, the way that I've found to be easiest to implement is with custom attributes. So what I will do is that in my CSS, I will have, as part of my build, you have some way for the customer to declare. You basically set certain components. You say that, okay, I have a button, I have a menu, I have an icon, logos, whatever you want. You declare a domain language for the components that you allow your customers to customize. And once you have declared that language, which is, as I said, for example, a button is very common thing that people want to customize. You declare a CSS file which is where the custom styles that your customer has, you simply add that, and then you do the override thing. As I said earlier, you simply append or you combine it into your CSS file when you build everything. Kind of depends on what approach you want there. It doesn't really matter all that much, but let's say for the sake of argument that you have a base CSS style at the top of the page, and under that you have the custom overrides that your customers have declared. And now you're saying, but Frederick, I thought you just said that you shouldn't be doing that. And I say, yes, I said that you shouldn't be doing that because it affects how everything else works on the page for you. But when you are aware of that, there's something you can do in order to always have a very high level of confidence that it's going to work, which is that instead of using an override system that is based on CSS classes, you use data attributes, custom attributes. So what I will do is that I will have a strategy saying that, all right, if there's a button element that has the custom attribute data-theme equals to button, then apply these styles. Because what happens is that allows you to explicitly say in your code that this is a element that should have the button overrides or the select overrides, so forth and so forth. Don't use class names for theming. Use data attributes. It will help you a lot. So, to summarize, theming is very, very hard. CSS is not just the only thing that goes into theming. If you have a CMS system or something of that nature, I want you to know that this is among the hardest things that you can do in frontend. You don't think so, but trust me, it is very tricky. So take it from somebody who's been through that journey. Limit how much, like the bare minimum, the absolute minimum viable thing that you can offer to your users. That's what you want to go for. Don't allow them to customize absolutely everything. Just give them a set of base components that they can do some basic overrides on, and use custom attributes as the selector system. Have a great day.